All right. Good morning to you. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whenever and wherever you may be watching this live and recording from. So let's get started. Let me turn this down a little bit in the background. Sorry about that. I should turn that down before we got started. All right. So today and this morning, every Saturday, we get together and we are reviewing. We're in the middle of reviewing The Colony, Season 1. And every Saturday we come together and we talk about what has happened in the previous episode. Okay? Well, that's right. I don't have episode 5 because we didn't do that. Good morning, Christina. I don't have episode 5 because we did that review and I was not here when I did it. So I don't have those notes for episode 5. But I'll try to bring you guys up to speed as close as I can from memory. How about that? All right, so welcome. Let's get started. We always start with a review, and then we will go into our episode that we're in. This week we're in episode 7. So getting started with The Colony, weeks and weeks and weeks ago, we started season 1, episode 1, and we found out who our characters were. They were Mike the handyman, John C., the IBM engineer who now is known as the professor, Morgan, which is the young black female. She's the engineer. That's the best way I can describe her. She's the younger black female. John V., who is a machinist, and I call him the religious fanatic. And this week, we're going to find out why I call him the religious fanatic. George, which is the doctor. Allison, the ER nurse. That's the blonde-haired lady. Vladimir, which is an engineer, and he's a self-proclaimed fisherman and a hunter, and that's going to come into play later on. We're going to talk about that fisherman hunter stuff. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and make that note now. Matter of fact, we're going to put that under here. Make a note of that because I wanted to bring out something about Vladimir. And these rats. Okay, hold on. All right, there we go. Made that note. All right, then we have, let's see, Joey, which is a contractor. He's the ex-convict. Leilani, she's the older black female. She's the martial artist and a personal trainer, and is proven to be a real solid leader in this group. And then we have Amy, who is the marine biologist, which most of you guys probably don't even know Amy's on this show, because she is like the least televised of all. I saw one glimpse of her this week. And as far as contributions to the group, I can name one contribution that she has made. She made a fishing basket like in week, I don't know, episode 2, I think. And they actually caught a fish with her fishing basket. But I don't like to jump ahead. So to start the colony, what they do, they take the volunteers through a sleep deprivation of like 36 hours. Then they give them 15 minutes of looting time into a warehouse or a store. After 10 minutes, they send marauders in that steal what they've already stolen. They have an 8-mile walk to what is called a sanctuary, which is an 8,000 square foot warehouse sitting on a 3-acre plot of land. And this is a 10-week experiment. Yeah, experiment. They get to the warehouse. They don't have any running water. They have no lights. They have limited food. And they, let's see here. Day 1, what did they accomplish? They accomplished shelter. Their air quality was fine. The water, they figured out water filtration pretty quick. Sleeping quarters, which I've kept saying, I don't think their sleeping quarters should be where they are. They figured out how to work the toilets. They got emergency lighting up. They figured out meal times. And on day 4, they actually had a treat. They had some coffee. All right? We talked about what could they have done better, and we kept saying security and water. Security and water. That was what we pointed out season 1, episode 1. Security and water. Taking us to episode 2. They figured out, this was day 4 through 8. They figured out power. We figured out that Mike had a really bad attitude. They went on a scavenge run. Getting it, they got the generator up and working. And then all of a sudden they started talking about leaving their location. They talked about leaving the sanctuary. We had Morgan versus Mike, and we figured out that Mike could fail as many times as he wanted to, but it was all good. Good morning, Gira. All right, so the college season 1, episode 3. They kept mentioning security. They did this shower build. They spent too much. We figured that they spent too much time on the electricity bill. Mike and his electricity bank. Joey in the water tank, pulling that up the building by himself. Leilani making the toilet paper. Morgan drawing on the wall, kind of a historical account of where they were and what they were doing. Let's see here. Marauders broke in on that episode, and they stole 2 days worth of water. I mean, 2 days worth of food, which brought us back to their security concerns. And we kept talking about security, but nobody was really worried about security, and because of it, they had to pay the ultimate price of losing 2 days worth of food. A couple of you guys had some great tips. I think Linda mentioned a bug sprayer being a really good shower. We're using that as a good shower. We talked about food forests. And I believe someone mentioned a couple of books. And I want to say that was Tara that mentioned the books. She said Farm City as a novel by a book by Novella Carpenter. The Long Winter, that's a book. And then let me see here. Firefox book series, My Side of the Mountains, which I have yet to start reading or finding any of those yet. All right, so college season 1, episode 4. The belief level of the real of the situation. Okay, so we talked about how when they got into this this situation makes them really believe that they're in this situation. Okay, I mean, if you experience things over and over again over a very short period of time, that's going to become your reality. That's just like when I go on fast. After about 4 to 5 days of not eating, that becomes your reality. I mean, no matter what's going on around the world, you are on fast and you're not getting any food. And 75 to 90% of the time, that's what you're thinking about. So if you put somebody in a situation where they have no running water, no electricity, limited food, reduced calories, that's their reality. So that's one thing we pointed out in episode 4. Let's see here. Joey steps up as the foreman on the security, and they found an extra room which had money and vodka. They drank the vodka, which we all thought was not such a good idea. John C. was making a flamethrower. Vladimir making a claymore mine, which I don't know if that ever worked. Leilani built her gym. Let's see here. Traders to come and trade goods. Okay, we had Mike and Joy in charge, which was proved to be the 2 hottest heads that there could have been. Let me see. We had a blow up between Leilani and Mike, and we voted to see who we thought would win between Leilani and Mike. And we had it was a very, very close vote, but Mike pulled it out as far as a straight up fist fight between he and Leilani. And then with our MVP for that episode was overwhelmingly Joey. All right, so that brought us to episode 5, and I believe episode 5 is when the 2 outsiders came in. They burst on the scene because they had a key to the door. I can't remember their names though, but one of them was a really big black guy, and the other one was an Asian female. I can't remember either one of their names, but they came in. They did their own thing. They even stole from the colonists. The female came, asked could she take a shower. She took like a 30-minute shower, drained the whole entire tank of water. I mean, it was a sad situation. They ended up putting them out. So episode 6, they built a medical facility. They went foraging, and this is the episode that George came up missing, which was the doctor. George came up missing. They figured out how to do SOS with communication. They built this huge sign, and they tried to build fireworks. Let's see here. We said our MVP of that episode was, good Lord, it looks like Morgan. Morgan was our MVP. And out of most attractive, I don't know why we was voting about most attractive, Leilani won that one. And then most valuable to the group, it was a tie between George Morgan. Yeah, George and Morgan on in this episode, looks like. All right, so brings us up to episode 7. Episode 7. We're on day 31 of this experiment. Now, that is a long time to be in a situation where you have limited food, limited resources, you're sleep deprived, limited water, and limited privacy. Remember that too, limited privacy. So they have dwindling food stores. Their food supply is very limited, which means what? Which means now they're hungry. They're starting to feel hunger, or starting to feel hungry, and because of that, what is it doing? It's giving them that mental fog. Hey, Pennsylvania prepper, welcome. It's giving them that mental fog. They're not able to think as clearly as they normally would. And John, otherwise known as the professor, he has noticed that. He's like, hey, I'm foggy. I'm not as sharp as I normally am. And I've noticed that when I've been on fast. I noticed that about 4 to 6 days in, because your body starts making HGH, you get this overwhelming sense of superheroism. I don't know if that's the right word or not, but you do. You start feeling euphoric. After you've been on fast and after you've been, deprived of calories, on about the 14th to 16th day, you start getting that mental fog. And that's if you're just doing water. Now, these folks, they've been eating, but they haven't been eating a lot of calories. So I assume, and I kind of felt like that was going to happen. I didn't know when it was going to happen, but I knew they would start getting that mental fog. It took them about 30 days to get that mental fog. Simply because they're not getting nearly enough, the calories and the nutrition, which is the most important in their diets right now, which hey, they signed up for it. And out of the people that are watching, and I know I've made this very clear, how many of you guys would like to have an opportunity to volunteer for something like this? I raise my hand because I would love, even if it was 10 weeks, I would love to go on something like this just to see and experience that experience. I would love to. They noticed that their propane was dwindling on this episode. Their propane has started dwindling, and they was about to run out of propane, which is the way they cook, and also the way that they boil their 20 gallons of water. And we found out in this episode, I didn't know until this episode how much water they were using every day. So apparently they're giving each colonist 2 gallons of water every single day. Okay, so you know what? That's a good question. I asked who would do it, and let's ask the second question. That if you would do it, why would you do it? And if you would not do it, why would you not do it? Yes, this is the reality show, Pennsylvania Prepper, the colony. Christina said she would not volunteer. Karen said she would. Okay, I've never heard of this show, but it's on YouTube. Yeah, it's on YouTube. And matter of fact, let me post a link so that you can you'll have the right series that we do this every Saturday morning, where we take a whole week and we watch the current episode that we're on, and then we come in on Saturday mornings and we talk about that particular episode all together as a family. All right. So what I'll do, I'll post episode 8 for the group, since that's the one that we're moving into. Okay, that fair enough? I will do that for you, specifically Pennsylvania Prepper. All righty. I didn't mean to check it. I wanted to pull it up. All right, so let's see here. This is episode 8. Just waiting for the ad to run, and then I'll post it. Okay, just gotta grab that link for you. Bam, there we go. Episode 8. Now I noticed that episode 7, and I could not find a good copy. Did you guys experience the same thing where the copy was it was running a little bit too fast, and then it was really small in the right corner? I could never make it bigger. I could never fix the audio. Hey, and I figured it is what it is. You're watching something on a free platform. Hey, it just is what it is. All right, so we're not a volunteer. I'd volunteer if I could pick. If you could pick your peeps. No, it's a volunteer, and they just gonna stick you with whomever the other 10 folks that you're gonna be with. So that's Kara said she would for the experience, and that's why I would do it too. I would do it just for the experience. And I have learned, even this time, and I've watched this series probably. If I've watched this thing 5 times, I know I've watched it probably. This is probably my 7th or 8th time watching this all the way through. And I am taking my time, and I'm watching one episode every week with you guys. And I told y'all I was going to do it that way. I am picking apart everything that they're doing, but I am learning so much from these colonists. For example, and I told you guys early on, I said, hey, stick with the group. Do one every week, because in my opinion, it's easier and better to do. Well, it's not easy. It's easier to watch it all the way through and just watch it to the end. But I think you learn a lot more by watching it every week and then watching it multiple times, because then you learn the personalities of the people. You figure out the strengths and the weaknesses of the group. And with their projects, you can really pick apart the things that they're doing awesome and the things that they're not doing so awesome. Let me see. I'd take my husband and my sons, maybe my son-in-law. I may have to not take the girls unless there's a tattoo parlor or a nail shop. That's too funny. Oh, goodness. Okay, cool. All right, so let's see here. We're running out of propane for cooking and for boiling water. And John C., the professor, has come up with an idea of an ozonator. I was like, what? Who would have thought of that? I wouldn't have. I wouldn't even have known how to think of that, But this guy thought of it, and we're going to come back to that. Let's make sure we come back to that, because they don't figure that out until later on in the episode. Mike figured out a different way of cooking with a cooktop. Let's talk about the river, okay? I couldn't wait to get to the river because I wanted to talk about what happened at the river on this episode. Karen says, it would teach me my weakness before I had to really use it. Then I could train in that area. That's a good point, Karen. Very good point. And plus, it puts you in a group, situation where you're with strangers and you have to learn. I'm not gonna say have to learn. You have to work with. Sorry about the noise, y'all. I just saw something I needed. It was a piece of lint, just was driving me crazy. OCD kicks in sometimes. It will put you in a group of strangers where you would have to give and take. You would have to figure out how to work with these people. So let's talk going to the river. But before then, let me go check something out really, really quick. Y'all hang on. Kind of figure they can do something like that. All right, so going to the river. And we had already talked about probably been 4 or 5 weeks ago. We had talked about how we all thought it was not a good idea to not be going to the river the way they were going. We thought they should have set up some kind of system where they could pipe water from the river to the warehouse. Okay, we had come up with that weeks ago, but they're still making river trips, and they even mentioned in this episode that every time they go to the river, they either encounter marauders. Something happens, it's not a safe place for them. It's dangerous. And this episode, they're at the river getting water, and lo and behold, I think they say either 9 or 10 strangers are coming down the river. And did you guys notice how freaked out they got about seeing strangers? It showed me again that these people are locked into this situation and they believe this to be their real life. Because I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but when I think I don't know who noticed them first. They're like, "Hey guys, they're people," and just by that statement right there, that just goes to show you that they're on edge and they're on guard with strangers, no matter who they are. Okay, no matter who they are. And it proved to me that if or when something ever happens, that is the way that we will encounter every stranger. Now in everyday life, we see strangers, we either speak to them or we don't speak to them. We go on, it's no big deal. After something happens, after a catastrophic event, it shows you that you're going to be on edge and you're going to watch everybody that comes into your space. Right? And on this trip, on the river trip, their space was the river. So I don't know if y'all heard them. They was like, get out the river, you know. But and as the people were coming, they're like, the end is near. Turn to God and blah, blah, blah. And they're basically preaching and spreading the gospel. And what are you saying, Karen? Let me see here. I think they had lots of restrictions because they didn't do so many things that they should have. Okay, be more specific and tell us like what. And yes, they are restricted to the areas around the warehouse where they can go, where they can't go. Yes, that they have some restrictions. And we know, but they don't know. Every time they encounter the marauders or strangers, they can can defend themselves, but the marauders have been instructed not to hurt or physically hurt the colonists. All right, you never know who your friends are until you get sick and they abandon you. Strangers, I don't know. Very good, Christine. Very, very good. All right, so here we go. They got these strangers coming toward them from the river.
One hand.
All right, guys.
Looking like somebody got the jacket.
What's up, Sam? How you doing, brother? So they got these strangers coming in from the river, and they're like, we don't know what's going on. Get out the river. Get ready to defend yourself. I mean, that's basically was the tone of the of what was going on. So the preacher basically asked, he's like, who has faith in God, blah, blah, blah. And of course, our religious fanatic, John V, speaks up and he's like, I do, right? So we find out. And the question I have for you guys is, when you have religious fanatics in your group, is that an asset or is that a liability? Because we find out at that point in time, John V gives away his gallon of water. And then he gives away his, I never did see the tool. I don't know what kind of tool it was, but he gave away his tool that apparently he uses and needed because he had it with him at the river. So what are y'all's thoughts on John V, the way he reacted, what he did, and how he did it? Okay, what do you guys think about that? And okay, so Karen says, not me. I'm judging people as soon as I meet them. I want to see if I'm safe or not, kind of thing. I agree with that. Like piping water and such. Okay, I mean that's one thing we've been talking about for weeks about these colonists. We all felt that they could have done different, even if they didn't do anything but build something that they had to feed water into. It would still been faster to feed water, even if they had to literally pick up 1 gallon at a time and pour it into some kind of aqueduct system, and then send it to the warehouse. Fanatic is such a dangerous word in itself. So it's survivor's guilt. True. There's a difference between religious fanatic and a Christian. I was wondering if you guys gonna pick up on the way I said it. Very, very true. Good morning, woman and woman. I agree with that. And I said, and I asked that question a certain way because I wanted to see what you guys were going to say about it. And yes, being a Christian and being a religious fanatic, two totally different things. When you have religious fanaticism, those are people that will not only die, but kill you over religion. Okay. Being a Christian or being a follower of Christ, all right, is or Christ's teachings is something totally different. And in this situation, do you guys, for those that watched the episode, do y'all think that John B is a religious fanatic, or do you think he's a good Christian? And what makes you a good Christian? Does making you give your water away and your tool that you use every day away to somebody, does that make you a good Christian? Or does that make you foolish in this situation? All right, let's see here. Let me see. They met the stranger, spread the gospel, and then and the guy made a very valid, good point. He says, what's the point of surviving if you're going to burn in hell? He didn't say it that way, but that's what he meant. What's the point of surviving if your soul is going to burn, or something like that? And I was like, And for a Christian hearing that, or somebody who is a follower of Christ or a believer, of God, or however you guys want to put it, for somebody hearing that, do you think that statement is a valid statement? And we're on the episode. I'm not trying to get into religion, so y'all know we don't talk politics and we don't talk religion, but we're talking about the episode right now. These are some of the things that I pulled from the episode. All right, let's see what Christina said. Christina said, there's a difference between following religion and following Christ. One, you listen to man's interpretation. Other, you listen to the voice of God. Yes, Christina. Okay. So was John listening to religion in this case? Or was he listening to the voice of God when he gave away his water and he gave away his tool that he uses every day? Which one? Okay. And I want to spend some time on this because you may have people in your group that are kind of like John V. Because in the beginning, remember, he had said, I think even on episode 1, he was like, yeah, I'm a big believer and I'm a Christian, I'm this and I'm that. But as soon as Joy and that crew, those 4 people, it was Joy, Vladimir, Leilani, and I think Amy. As soon as they came into the colony, Mike was like, go and search their stuff, and he jumped, slam on it. Oh, I did have notes from episode 5. Those people's names were Andre and Liz that just showed up. Oh yeah, only thing we didn't cover on that was their names, and then in episode 5 we voted that Mike will win the fight. Okay, cool. All right, so only thing I didn't have was Andre and Liz. All right, he didn't say God said to do it. So I assume he just did it. He said he heard a voice that said give it. That's what he said. He kept saying he heard a voice. He didn't say he heard the voice of God. He just said he heard a voice. I didn't pray first about it either. Yeah, and we don't know if he did or not because of editing. Being a Christian, like a mom, she can be loving and psycho at the same time. Good job, Karen. So we don't know, Christina, if he prayed or not, because of course he could have and they edited it out, or he could not have and they edited it out. We don't know. All right, so we're gonna get off that subject. But he really got broke. He broke down and started crying after he gave his water and after he gave his tool away. And the woman turned around and gave him a can. Listen to this: a can of food. Now, he gave away water, which is life, and he gave away a tool, which is something that helps you further your life. And she gives him a can of food, and that totally that changed his whole life. He was breaking down, crying. Did y'all notice that? So he gave not expecting anything in return. Now I admired that. That was very Christian of him. But then the woman, never give anything away that you will miss or want back. Okay, good point, Christina. Because I'm going to tell y'all something. I use this doohickey right here every single day. And I'm assuming he had something like this. Now, I use this every day, and we're not in the apocalypse. Okay? If I give this away, now I got like three or four of these at the house. Now, if I give this away, and this is my last one, this is my last. First and foremost, Roderick is not giving this away. Because not only is this a tool, this is also something I can use as self-defense. All right. And I fix so much stuff with this every day now. I can only imagine after something happens how valuable this would be. Okay, it would be like water, air, water, this tool. Okay. um, you think he had an aha moment? I think he had an aha moment too, and it shook him to his core, and it brought him back to his teachings. Suddenly realized that kind of jerk he had been. That's a good one, yeah, because I mean, he had been a jerk. He had totally changed from kind, sweet Christian, John V to, we just got to survive at all, at all cost. Um, so anyway, I wanted to spend some time on the river because I know the river visit was a pivotal turning point in John's life. All right, so let's move on. Morgan talked about how the noise in the warehouse just had started getting on her nerves, and everybody was on edge, and all the yelling and all the banging and all the machinery and all the noise of the warehouse. So she took it upon herself to fix the phonograph and the record player and to make music, which I thought was amazing that they have records in the warehouse. It just show you, that most of this stuff is staged. But how important, now this has been 31 days, 30 plus days. How important, in you guys' opinion, now of course we've never been in this situation, but after 30 plus days of not hearing any music, any talk radio, not watching any movies, how important do you guys feel that the project of the phonograph was to the colonists? You really have been centered in a situation like that because it brings out the reality of what you are. You really have to be centered. Okay, I can see that, Christina. So how important to you guys do you think that record player or that phonograph was to the colonists? Suddenly realized, okay, yeah, Christina, I think that's what happened to him. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so also, as you guys are answering that, because I know there's a delay, so I'm going to wait for that answer. As we're waiting, let's go back to the ozonator, because John C. is still trying to figure out this ozonator. And what he did, I think he took a car battery, sent electrical charges into a positive and a negative lead to jump a spark, and then some kind of way he had to capture that into a tube and then put the blood pressure cuff. I mean, this engineering behind this was amazing. Put the blood pressure cuff into the water and then pump. I think he said he pumped oxygen into it some kind of way. I don't know how he did it. I don't even understand the concept of the ozonator. I know that you can't do that. I know that is in existence. But as far as putting something like that together, I thought that was amazing. Oh, we also got to later on vote MVP, and we got to vote. we're gonna start doing an episode, a segment every Saturday. Where is Amy? All right, let's see here. Music takes one mind off things. The phonograph would probably raise morale, which is very important. Very true, Pennsylvania prepper. The entertainment is a great stress reliever. Just can't put it in front of priorities. I can agree with that too. Plus, it's making noise because most of the time, when you're doing things, you're gonna take your rest and relaxation when at nighttime. But being quiet in the colony is already out the door because they got this huge sign. And for those who have not seen it, you got this huge sign on top of the building that's saying, "Hey, we are living here." And then they're I think it was a great idea for them to transmit and receive every day at a certain time because you never know who's out there. Okay, I think that was a good idea. The sign, however, I'm not real sure about the sign because it attracts so much more attention. Those are just my, All right, their priorities were all backwards. Okay. Why do you say that, Karen? Why are their priorities all backwards? And then Christina agreed with you. Sometimes music helps people to concentrate. Also, anytime you have an important job to do, A break can offer a breakthrough. I agree with that too. But why do you think their priorities are all backwards, Karen? Especially now. I mean, we're 30 days into it. They got food, they got water, they got shelter, they got defense. Their security is pretty much on point. Where do you see that their priorities are backwards now? Other than the water. Okay, other than pumping water from the river to the colony. Okay, only problem is can keep you from hearing things going on outside. That I agree as well. Okay. And then I still say, even though they all get together at nighttime and they eat and all that good stuff, I still think they should have a roving watch that's rolling around, roving around the either the inside of the building or the top of the roof, watching what's going on. Okay, and they can do that in 1 hour long shifts. Okay, so because they don't have things scheduled. All right, that's good. Good point. Only problem is okay, got that. All right, so um, let's move on. They started calling the colony truck stop because they had somebody to come by, bang on the wall, and ask for some water, ask for some help. Those kind of things are going to happen. Okay, you're going to have good people that's going to come by and don't want anything other than some help. So the question I have for you guys right now is, in this situation, and I want you to think about this now before something happens. In a situation like this, are you going to turn everybody away? Are you going to do it case by case basis? Are you going to help the onesie twosies? Or if a whole group of people come, are you not going to help them? Because Joy and Mike have good points. Okay, about if you give to one, it could be 20 or 30 that are around the corner that start coming by. So if you give the 1 and 2, are you going to give to the 20 and 30 that come by, or they may send them one and 2 at a time? Because you're gonna have everybody's not bad. You're gonna have some good people, and you're gonna have some good people that come through and ask you for help. You're also gonna have some bad people to come through. How do you differentiate? How do you decipher who's good and who's not good? How do you differentiate between who you're going to help and who you're not going to help? Hey, Kim H. Yes, sir. Thank you for being here and welcome. And yeah, you're a little late today. Just a little bit though. we're on season 1, episode 7. Hopefully you watched it this week. I will be able to discern who I cannot help according to what the Holy Spirit says to me, and according to what they can offer. Depends. Okay, so like those guys that came up and they was like, "Hey man, we just need some water. We don't want to attack you. We don't want to come in. We just want some water. Can you help us with some water?" How do you turn somebody away like that? You know, that's hard to say. And if you do give, you run the risk of getting sick because you didn't put them under quarantine. That's a good point too. Well, I think what they did, I think they sent the water down and they sent the Vienna sausages down, and they just sent that stuff away. Oh, you got your channel started. Well, congratulations on having your channel started, brother. Good job. So those are questions that I wanted to pose to the group, you know. And they even said they were testing the colonists' morale about, you know, when they sent the nomads in. And those are people who didn't have anything, didn't have no water, didn't have shelter, didn't have nothing. They sent them in just to see what the colonists were going to do. And then after the fact, you could hear Mike in the background just going off. "Oh, I can't believe we did it. We made the wrong decision. This is not the colony truck stop, blah, blah, blah." You know, Mike always has something to say. You know that. And then Joy wasn't, you know, he's like, because Allison even mentioned, she was like, you know, we can't be selfish. And Joy was like, it's not being selfish. It's being, you know, it's watching our security. And he had a valid point. And I have mixed emotions about this, to be honest with you guys, because I'm like, we already have limited resources, okay? If we start giving out to everybody that comes by, that's going to dwindle our resources even more. But remember, I keep saying, everybody that you turn away in that situation you have potentially created a new foe. a new enemy in this situation. All right. All right. So Kevin says you always help people, but you ask them to do you a favor in return. Okay. I will turn them that the river is down the road. Wow. You just gonna send them to river water so they can just drink water and die. Seriously, there's a river where those folks can get what they need. Okay, I mean that's true, but they don't have any resources. They have no resource. So what? You're just gonna send them down there so they can drink toxic water? I like to trade and I give all the time. Now that I agree with, Christina. I totally agree with trading. Be like, okay, bro, you want some water? What do you have in return? I got the shirt off my back. Okay, give me the shirt off your back. Is that the kind of trading you're gonna do? Oh, and then if they come back, I got I've already given you the shirt off my back. Do you want my pants? Do you want my underwear? Now I'm walking around naked. Where does it end, and where does the help stop? And how can you help somebody without giving your resources? All right, the folks they asked got their water from the river that these people are asking for, so water isn't toxic. Okay, the folks they asked got their water from. Well, remember, Christina, when they get the river water, they filter it, and then now they were at first they were filtering it, and then they were boiling it. And then until this episode, they didn't have the ozonator. So yeah, they're giving away filtered drinking water. They're giving away filtered, purified water. They're not just giving away river water. So keep that in mind. They're not just saying, okay, here's river water. They're giving them good filtered drinking water. Okay. This is going to sound bad, but if it's the end of time, you try to stay alive until most people have died. Unfortunately, I have to agree with you, Karen. That's why I keep telling you guys, if you have at least 7 days of food and water, at least you're ahead of most people. I believe, this is Roderick, this is Plant-Based Homestead Prepper talking. I believe if you can hold up at any location for 90 days, I think you're going to be all right. I'm talking about in any disaster. If you can hold up for 90 days, I think you will be okay. Because at that point, if it's something catastrophic that has happened, you're right. I think most people have died within 90 days. I tell them to go to the river, get water, and what they bring back, you can do an instant turnaround for clean water. That's not a bad idea, Kev H. And I don't see who wouldn't do that. But then again, like I don't know who mentioned, if you do something like that, then you have a risk of transferring whatever disease they may have because you haven't put them in quarantine. So and see, remember, in this scenario, there is a pandemic going on. There is a breakout going on where 90% of the globe has died. In this particular series, this is the situation. There's a pandemic going on. 90% of the world has died. And we don't know what started it. We don't know how it spread. Okay? So keep that in your mind, folks, that we are 31 days into a scenario where 90% of the world has died. 90. So these few people that keep coming by, the trader when he came by, the marauders when they came by, this little nomad and his friend that came by, these are representation of the 10% that are left. All right? Keep that in your back of your minds. All right, Kev H, that's a good idea. If they did the manpower to bring the water for filtering, I would trade for clean water then. Okay. Also, if they have no way to help right away, you can ask them to contribute until you can give them what they need, or ask them to grow something and find something of value for you. True. Is this season 2? No, we haven't made the season 2 yet. Yes, after that, when people can come around, then you can bet they can help you because they stayed alive that long, and they know how to help you. Okay, that's true. And that's another thing. If it's a scenario like this where we have a global pandemic that has happened that has killed 90% of the world, How long should we put people in quarantine? Okay. That's a good question right there. How long should we put people in quarantine? If we're going to accept new people, how long should we put them in quarantine? Now, of course, this is this is a scenario that has been edited and filtered by the producers and things like that. But in a real life scenario, if we are held up in a warehouse or somewhere, a community of 9 of us, and we've been able to make it 31 days, and there is a global pandemic going on that we know about, how long, if we're going to accept new people, how long should we put them in quarantine? Karen says a minimum of 2 weeks. Okay, that's one answer. All right, we're gonna take a poll on this. I'm gonna see what we come up with. All right, how long should we place people in quarantine? All right, so how many days is 2 weeks to you, Karen? Is that 14 days? Christina said, depending on the pandemic and known symptoms and how you determine quarantine time. That's true. But off the bat, okay, we've been in this scenario with these folks for 7 weeks now. Okay, how long should we put people in quarantine? Because remember, in the beginning, they accepted those 4 people in just like that. All right. I'm gonna give you guys my answer. My answer is minimum 21 days. Okay, so we got one that says 14. We got one that says 21. We got one that says it depends. Yeah, it depends on when they start showing symptoms. But how will we know that? All right, they are in warehouses. They can set up a space next door and wait for them to show symptoms. How long do symptoms take to show? If they show right off, then they must go. I don't even know that, Kev H. I mean, if you're dealing in a situation where people have symptoms where they're gonna die and they're gonna spread an infection and kill others. I know this is gonna sound harsh, but I don't know about they must go. They must go meet their maker, maybe. Yes, 14 days because at the time signs of sickness will show. Maybe not. We don't know. All right. Do they know what the incubation period of the disease is? They never say. Not in this scenario. They never say. Okay. I just threw that out there. I just want to see what you guys thought about it. Okay. Let's see. We talked about the noise. Talked about the colony truck stop. Okay. So let's talk about the rats in the warehouse. And this brings me to the point of Vladimir. Y'all remember Vladimir? He's our residential chef. When he first came to the colony, he said he was self-proclaimed a fisherman and a hunter. Y'all remember that? Why is it that anytime there's a scenario where we can catch some fish or we can hunt something, why is it Vladimir is not the person that either catches the fish or hunts the prey? Explain that to me. I need to switch devices. I'll still be watching, but I can't comment. Okay, cool. No problem. Pennsylvania Prepper. Also, they didn't have any issue dealing with the traders. True. I believe in this scenario, it's not being true to the pandemic portion. I think they forgot what the scenario was, or maybe the pandemic has run its course, and maybe these are just the survivors. Okay, so let's go with that. Let's just say that there's no incubation period. The pandemic has run its course, and everybody that would have died have already died. Okay, let's just say that. But just keep this in the back of your mind, guys. If something like this ever does happen, and you are going to take new people in, I don't know who came up with the quarantine portion, but that was a great idea. There should be some kind of quarantine, and you should keep your distance. If this is the scenario, you should be able to keep your distance from people. Let's see here. Do you know what? Nope, don't know that. If they die, you have to handle the disease by the true, Christina, and probably burning that body is going to be the best, in my opinion. Also, they didn't have any issue dealing with the traders. I need to switch the bikes. Okay, Roger, can you say what you said again because I kind of missed it. About what? What? Oh my God, I don't even know what I said, and because the delay is so long, I don't know. But I'll try to recap. Let me see. I said, oh, we're talking about the pandemic. Let's just say that in this scenario, that the disease has already killed 90% of the population, and then that's it. There's no more spread of the disease. Me either. Oh God, I don't know what you're saying. Me either for. Let's just say that is over. The spread of the disease is over, and nobody else can get sick from the pandemic. And these are just the survivors. Let's just say that. But like I said, keep in the back of your mind that at any point in time, if we go through this, if we have a scenario like this, anytime you're dealing with new people or even animals, there's a risk of All right. Have you ever smelled burning flesh? I have had to restock operation rooms with meds, and it's a stink you cannot describe. Yes, I have. I'm not saying you need to do it right there at the warehouse. Okay, you know what? Let's talk about that. In a situation like this, and we know that in a situation like this, people die. How do we dispose of bodies? Okay, if somebody was to die in the colony right now, all right, let's say we are the survivors, and we have made it 31 days, and boom, somebody dies. What are we gonna do with them? All right, that's a great point. And every time we come up I come up with an idea of a question, I always write it down. Someone dies. How do we get rid of? Because remember, we can't pick up the phone and call the funeral home. We can't do that. This is after the you don't have to burn bodies. Dead bodies don't keep pandemic disease alive. You get the same disease from an infected person as a clean person's body. All right, let me read that again, Kevich. You don't have to burn bodies. Dead bodies don't keep disease alive. You get the same disease from an infected person as a clean person's body. Does everybody agree with that? Does everybody agree with that? Okay, Kevich. This is the question on the floor right now. Someone dies in the colony. Someone dies in our group. How do we get rid of that body? Okay. What do we do? Are we going to bury him? Are we going to throw him in the river? Are we going to set him on fire? Are we going to make a raft for him, push him down the river, and then shoot an arrow of flame and send him off like a king? What are we going to do? Because I think this is a great question. Okay. I was talking about in the beginning when Vladimir came to the colony. he by his own self-proclaimed, he said he was a hunter and a fisherman. But anytime they went fishing, okay, y'all remember when they went fishing, Joey actually caught the fish with Amy's basket. He had a bow and arrow. He was trying to shoot fish. That didn't work. I'm glad you said bury it, Christina, because that brings me to another question. And then now they're trying to catch rats, and he can't seem to be catching the rats. All right, so Christina said we're going to bury the body. Now, we're already limited on food, which means we're already tired and we're already cranky. Who's going to go out and dig a grave? Because you can't dig a grave and just boom and throw some dirt on it. That grave needs to be deep enough where the animals don't come and dig it up and start eating the body. So who's going to go out and dig a grave? No, I don't agree because sickness are changing so much. And diseases are mutating. I agree. I didn't want to just say I totally disagree with you, Kev H, but I don't know how accurate that is. Okay. And Christina says bury it, but I don't want to go out and dig a grave. Let me see here. He's what you call a bagger of nothing. I know Christina because I mean he was there. I'm a fisherman. I'm a hunter. Blah 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 blah. Burn the body so no animals eat the diseased body. There you go. Okay, that's a great. Thank you for being here, Queen. I didn't even know you was here. So Queenie says burn the body. I would rather dig a grave than to smell it rot. Okay. And I'm okay. So we're 30 something days into this endeavor, and nobody's getting the proper calories. And I don't know if you guys ever did the grade before, but that is a lot of work. Okay, I'm talking about a lot of. It's not like we got a backhoe. We just go out there and roll up and then in the grave is dug. We talking about digging the grave with a shovel, large enough and big enough to not only cover a human body, but to get it deep enough where the animals are not going to smell it and dig it up. All right. All right, let me see here. To know, not to do is really not to know. Yes, that's true. That's a good one. All right, so I need you guys to cast your vote now. Someone dies. How do we get rid of the body? Okay, I got one that says bury. And I got one that says burn. Okay? And either way, you're going to be using precious resources. Because if you go out and bury, you're going to need at least 2 people to dig that grave, which means now they're using up all of their calories to dig a grave. And they're not doing anything else that day but digging a grave. If you take a body out and you go burn it, you're using precious fuel. All right? Which means you need to build some kind of wood. They got pallets. They can build the wood pallets or whatever and then put the body on top and then put gasoline around it or whatever, and then burn it that way. All right, so we got one for bury. We got one for burn. All right, come on, y'all, cast your votes. Queen says burn, burn, burn. Maybe they will want to eat the body. Are you changing your vote now? Hey, hey, Queen. Christine, are you changing your vote from bury to burn? I mean, to eat, because we still don't know. And I'm bringing this up because Allison, our little nurse, was talking about eating rats. And she's like, oh my God, they're filled with disease and blah, 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 blah. But they're living, right? And these rats apparently are thriving in their community. So, bury because burning will attract attention. All right, so I got 2 for bury. Okay, and let me rephrase where we're going to burn this body. We're not burning this body anywhere close to where we live. We're taking this body like streets away. Because 1, we don't want to smell it burning. 2, we don't want to bring any kind of attention like that to our home. All right. I think if you're going to bury it or burn it, I think it'd be unwise to do it in your vicinity. Does anybody agree with that? I think you need to take that body far, and I'm talking about a ways away from where you are. That's kind of like defecation. Okay, when you go poop, how far away, if you're going to be using facilities and burying your excrement, your number 2s and your number 1s, how far away are you going to take that stuff to get rid of it away from where you live? All right. See, these are things we got to start thinking about now. All right, we got another one for bury. All right, now the folks that are voting for burying, are you going to be the one that's going to volunteer to go dig their grave? I'm not digging a grave, okay? Because I'm voting for burn. So the people that are voting for burning, we're not digging graves. So who's going to be willing to go out? Because if you're going to have 2 grave diggers, then you need at least 1 person on security, right? So that's 3 people taken away from the colony to go bury a body, right? And that's well, and you could take turns. Two people could start digging, then the person who's watching, they can start, you know, they can start doing whatever. Good point, composting, cabbage. Um, so if you're gonna bury and you're gonna take this body out to go do that, how far away from your camp, from your colony, are you gonna do that? That's number one. Number two, how many people are you going to take from the colony to go do that? No, no, no. Never, ever eat a person, AKA. Look up what happens to the donor pot. Okay. DONNER party. Give us a brief explanation about the donor party, Karen. Give us a brief one. All right, so we got 3 for bury, 2 for burn, at least a mile away. Okay, so now you're gonna drag a body. Listen to what you said. You guys are gonna drag a body a mile away, or push them on a cart or whatever, and then you're gonna need at least 3 people to dig this grave, which means you're putting 3 people now at risk of marauder attack. How long do you think it's gonna take to dig a grave? I'm thinking hours. And then you don't even know what the ground is like. If you have hard dirt, like packed clay and all that kind of, it's gonna take you hours. If you have sand, it's gonna take you hours. If you have just regular dirt, it's gonna take you hours to dig a grave. All right. So anyway, I'm just saying, if you go far away, you might not spend energy. If you go far away, you might as well spend the energy to dig the grave. This is a great discussion because this is something we never talked about right here. If we have a body, what are we gonna do with it? We're split, and we haven't even had everybody to vote. I still need people to vote. Okay, we got 2 for burning, 3, and I'm seeing 7 people. I'm on here twice, so we got at least 6 people on here, and I only have 5 votes. I need the last person to cast their vote. Okay, please cast your vote. Somebody dies. How do we get rid of the body? Okay, and we got one that wants to eat the body. Not me. And I know you're just joking. Who mentioned that? Somebody mentioned. I know it was a joke. Donor Party was part of the push to California and took a shortcut. They weren't a shortcut, and people died. Okay. Let me look it up real quick. Donor Party. Or Donner Party. Apparently, the Donner Party was a group of American pioneers who migrated to California in a wagon train from the Midwest. Delayed by a series of mishaps, they spent the winter of 1846 and 47 snowbound in the Sahara Nevada. Let me pull up their Wikipedia. Let's see here. I'm not seeing anything about eating people. 6 months, blah, blah, blah. Loss of many cattle and wagons. The formed within the group, blah, 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 blah. Food ran dangerously low in mid-December. Okay, here we go. Group set out on foot to obtain help. Rescuers from California attempted to reach the migrants, but the first relief party did not arrive until mid-February 1847, almost 4 months after the wagon train became trapped. Of the 87 members of the party, only 48 survived the ordeal. Historians have described the episode as one of the most spectacular tragedies in California history and the entire record of American westward migration. All right, I'm gonna see. I'm trying to see where they were cannibalizing. I'm not seeing that. Oh God! First release, second release, survivors, blah blah blah. Maybe it's probably off in there, but I can't quickly find it. All right, say our people ate. I hate it when a man says, "I know a shortcut." Oh, it's too funny. All right, so looks like we're going to go close out our voting with 3-2. And I guess the people that voted that they're going to bury the body, those are the 3 people that's going to go bury the body. All right, we'll just close it out at that. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about these rats in the warehouse. So Allison, who is our residential nurse, she was talking about how awful it is to eat rats. Okay, and I don't know if y'all noticed it or not, but John C., who is the professor, he is a vegetarian. He's been a vegetarian for 30 years, and he broke his vegetarianism by eating rats. But I wanted to point out the fact that Vladimir, who keeps saying that he didn't keep saying, he says that he is the residential fisherman hunter. And Vladimir couldn't shoot a rat, he couldn't catch a rat, but it did seem like they caught enough rats where they had rats in cages. I don't know if y'all saw that or not, but they showed a little glimpse. And I don't know what editing if that was actually the colony or they had taken something from like PetSmart or whatever. But it looks like they had caught several rats. Okay. Okay, next point. Has anybody seen Amy? Where's Amy? Amy seemed like she was a no-show again. I did see a glimpse of her one time in this episode where they were standing around talking. They showed like it was like a half a second of Amy. Boom! I saw Amy and that was it. Amy still is missing in action, and I really truly wish that if they was going to take somebody out the show, they would have taken Amy, because Amy has been non-existent the whole season. You know, they took George out, but I would have rather seen Amy leave. All right, so John C. Not only did he fix the oxenizer or oxenator, where they could purify their water and not use a whole bunch of resources, but then he also repaired the movie projector. And then they started reminiscing about what used to be. Rats grow. I eat bugs first. When you're hungry, you'll eat anything. Trust me. Trust me. When you're hungry, you will eat anything. And I thought about on this episode, I said, I have fasted so much to the point where have I been okay on my 42-day fast? If somebody had offered me some rat, or I was locked in and I was doing that for a reason. But if I was starving after 42 days, oh yeah, I could eat me some sauteed rat. I could eat some sauteed lizard, snake, like those people on Naked and Afraid. You think they go out there knowing they're going to eat a snake? Probably not. They go out there and then after 15, 20 days of not eating, they're like, hey, there's a snake. I bet that's good and delicious. They are 8. Say it again, Kev H, because it's not coming through right. All right. And yeah, you probably will be eating bugs too, Karen. All right. So notice how they talked about their reality. Okay. So when they were watching that movie and they were talking about the beach and everything, they were talking about how much they missed the beach, and they were talking about their lives and how much they missed their lives and all that. And this is only after 31 days or thereabout. They ate Amy. No, they didn't eat Amy. They didn't eat her. She's still around. She's just non-existent. I don't know what she does on a day-to-day basis, but she gets no camera time. Snakes, yes, but rats are so dirty. Why? Okay. What is okay? Would you guys eat a possum? Would you eat a raccoon? Would you eat would you eat a wildcat? Would you eat a bear? Would you eat? I'm trying to think of the things that we normally don't eat in America. Okay. Do you eat Chinese? And hopefully we never get to the point where we have to eat something that we don't want to eat. But I've learned in my life to never say what you won't do. Okay. If they are alive, there are plants somewhere. I agree. I would never eat animal. Okay. Cool. Bear is delicious, says Karen. Cool. And Kev, you're right. If they're alive, then that means plants are somewhere. But most people, including myself, do not know how to go out and just forage wild edibles. Most people don't know how to do But anyway, I just want to throw that out there because they were reminiscing. And about the rat piece, they had apparently they have plenty of rats. Karen said, "Never say never." Okay, so our MVP of this episode. Who is our MVP? Y'all name the MVP now. And it should be overwhelming overwhelmed in this episode. I'm gonna write down 2 names, and I know one is going to win overwhelmingly. All right, if you ate Chinese, then you ate snake, monkey, ate dog, cats, and rats. That's what I'm talking about, Queenie. Amy is self-sacrifice. Oh, Amy for self-sacrifice. I don't know. Amy is just, I don't know. I don't know what she does. She gets no camera time. She gets no love on the camera. And I've looked up these people in this season, and kind of follow them after the fact, after the colony, and see what they do. I know like Leilani is an actress. She lives out there in LA. I couldn't find anything on Joey. I couldn't find anything too much on Vladimir. I think he's an actor too. But anyway, Kev laughed out loud. Amy is useless. I wouldn't say useless. I'm sure she has her things that she does. She probably cleans up really, really well. She probably does the dishes, and she'll probably be the grave digger. We'll send Amy. I'll be like, "Oh, Amy, go dig the grave," and she'll probably be happy with doing that. All right, who's our MVP? Come on, guys, we gotta get out of here. Who is our MVP of this episode? Vote now. Vote now. Who is our MVP? And I do want to talk a little bit, and I want to thank you guys, especially the moderators, because the other night we were on when we had the airstrike from Iran. We were on. We had so many people on here. I want to thank you guys for your patience, and 2, I want to thank you guys for being available and helping me moderate that night, because we had some comments that were coming in that were absolutely crazy. Oh, you telling me that Amy is the MVP because she let them eat her? You are so crazy. All right, I know that's a joke. All right, my MVP is John C. So I'm gonna start the vote out with John C. because he figured out the ozonator, and he was able to fix the movie projector. Yeah, we had lots of trolls that night, and thank you guys for being patient enough to listen to what people were trying to say, because Linda was in that night, and she's like, "Oh, this person's got to go, and that person's got to go." Hey, look, guys, just because it is our culture, just because it is our culture to come in and say, "Hey, everybody, this is Kev H from Arizona, and hey, this is Karen from Connecticut." When we get new people, listen, guys, I'm trying to grow the channel. I'm not trying to repel people. And I know this is more towards Linda, because she was like, "Yeah, this person's got to go," and that just because they didn't want to say where they were from. We don't know. We had so many people that night from other countries, and we don't know what the culture is in other areas and other countries. Even in the United States, we don't know what people's culture is or are. And thank you for your thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you for your coverage of the recent events. Thank you. We don't know what people's cultures are, and we don't know what people's fears are. And just because we don't mind coming on here and saying who we are and what we do and where we live, that doesn't mean everybody has that freedom and that liberty. And we had somebody that was talking, they were chatting, and once I explained to them what we do and how we do, they was like, "Oh yeah, I'm from this place." I think this person was from the Ukraine. But they didn't want to give their location off the bat. And Linda was like, "Oh, this person's got to go." And I'm like, listen, just because somebody doesn't want to tell you where they live, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's a bad thing. That doesn't justify putting them out of the conversation. Okay. So I want to thank the moderators, because y'all caught a bunch of things. Because remember, I'm using a program that allows me to do this, do lives and put things up on the screen and like let's see here. Okay, I can put this up on the screen. I haven't done it this live, but I'm in a whole different program, so I am not on YouTube moderating. That's why we have the moderators. Location can get them killed, and I appreciate you guys for understanding that and not just silencing people and putting people out the group. Now, when we had people that were obviously trolling, yeah, y'all was, and I think Emily was on it, Karen was on it. Y'all did a great job of moderating that night. But give people, I guess I'm saying, give people the benefit of the doubt that they're here trying to get information, trying to be part of the group and all that kind of stuff before you just silence them or put them out the group or whatever. And Linda, if you're watching, that's the very reason why you're not a moderator now, because I found out that you were silencing people and you were taking people's comments down, and they were unjustified in doing so. That's why you lost your moderator status in the first place. And from the other night, from your comments, I see it was justified taking that from you. And I'm saying this because, it's not bad to not be a moderator here. All right, just because you come in and you're not a moderator, that doesn't mean you're less of a person or anything like that. And I needed to address this because Linda had left us for a while over some things that I had said or didn't say about the president. And when I come in and I talk about the president or I talk about politics, it's strictly on an issue that's going on right then. And I always say, before we even talk politics or religion, I'm like, hey, this is strictly about this particular subject. And whether you like it or you love it or you hate it or you don't or whatever, let's talk about this little portion right here of the politics or the religion. That's why I was very careful in my words that I chose when we started talking about John V at the river. And I said certain things because I wanted to get a reaction from you guys. And I didn't say certain things because I wanted to see what we were going to go with. But when we talk politics and religion on here, it's going to be about this little portion of that subject. And then we're going to be done with it. And unfortunately, Linda either got upset or offended about some things that I said about the president. And she left us for a while. And I'm like, hey, look, you're welcome with open arms. I'm not upset. And one thing I don't do, I don't allow YouTube to get me upset. Even when we have trolls that come in, I don't let people upset me on here, because guess what? We all have different lives. We all have different personalities. We all have different points of views about things. And I try to be open enough where I can, even if we disagree, I try to be open and honest enough where we can disagree, but not be disagreeable. Does that make sense? Okay. So I want to address that. I want to thank you guys for being here the other night, because we had a ton. That was the biggest live we ever had. And y'all not going to believe this. That night alone, we at this little small channel that we had over 400 views that night just on that particular live. That's unheard of. It was crazy. It was crazy amount of people that were in here. And I thank you guys. I just want to thank you guys for that. Haven't liked a lot of the president, but I will always respect him. And that's the way it should be, That's the way it should. I haven't liked a whole bunch of people I worked for, but I respected them because of the title. You can't. And see, coming from the military, especially in the military, I had a whole bunch of people that were my superiors that I didn't like. Also, when I got some rank, I had a lot of people that were my subordinates that I didn't like. It's just people. We're going to like some, we're not going to like others. We're going to love some, we're not going to really like others. It's just the way it is, okay? That's what makes the world go around. We're different. We're people. Are you guys going to vote for MVP, or y'all just going to sit here and listen to me talk? Who is your MVP of this episode? And I don't even want to name names, because I just want to see who you guys say is the MVP. Maybe y'all didn't watch this episode. Is that what it is? Y'all didn't watch it all? It's okay. All right, my MVP is John C. Because he figured out the water purification portion again on this episode. Hands down, John C is my MVP. Do you guys have a different MVP? All right, so we got two for John. John C or John V? Because John gave away water at the river and gave away his two. Are you talking about that John, or are you talking about John? Because we got two Johns. We got John V, which is the giver, and we got John C, which is the guy who figured out the purification of the water, and he figured out how to do the projecting. And we got another vote for John. Which John? I don't. Queenie said John C. Okay, I'm just messing with y'all. I know y'all meant C. All right, so we got 3 votes for John C. My runner-up this week was Morgan. Morgan, because she figured out the entertainment portion with the phonograph. So if I had a runner-up, I would say Morgan. Simply because she figured it out. But yeah, hands down, John C. this week. So remember, next week we're going, and I'm gonna start doing something different. I'm gonna start posting the link early. Okay, like when we get finished here, I'm gonna post the link for next week as soon as we shut down here. Not only to give you guys a good reminder, but I think it's going to help advertise for the week. And then what I'm gonna do is, while we are in, I want you guys to help me do this week. While we are in the episode this week, while you're watching the episode this week, listen closely. I want you guys to comment, and this is something we haven't been doing. I want you guys to comment on the colony episode 8 this week. While we're watching this person's stuff, we might as well help their channel as well. Makes sense. I thought about it this morning. And I want you guys to comment, just say, hey, we do a review every Saturday morning, and just help me promote the review that we do, because I looked through the comments on episode 7. I was like, duh, people have watched this in the past and they're making comments on episode 7. They'll probably come join us next Saturday and help us in our discussion. So y'all help me do that this week as we're watching season 1, episode 8 of The Colony. Just make a comment, be like, hey, join us Saturday, and then I'm gonna post the link. Now listen, don't comment on my comment. Make a new comment and then just take that link and then post it. Again, let's try that. Let's just see how this works. I think it'll work. I think it's going to bless the person who has The Colony season 1, episode 8. I think it's going to bless their channel, and I think it's going to help and bless our channel at the same time. Okay. Let me see. Because of what he did for the family, I agree with you on that one, Karen. Anybody got anything else y'all want to talk about before we get out of here? Just so y'all know, I'm going to be here several hours. So I will probably come in here in maybe about, let's see, it's 11. Here in about maybe, if I don't do it in 30 minutes, I'm going to do it in like 2 hours. I'm going to come back on, and I'm going to give you guys just an update on what I feel about this Iran thing. And this, I told y'all the other day, I was like, it's fishy with this flight. And here it is coming out yesterday and this morning that flight was brought down by Iran. But you have to be an idiot not to know that. I mean, you could, if all this is true, if they shot the bombs, if the flight came down, then it only makes sense that they shot down that airplane. It only makes sense. Now, do I think it was on purpose? No. And do I think it's going to come back and bite them? Yes. I think Iran, we'll talk about that another time, because I'll go into it, and we're not going to do that right now. Thank you guys as always for being here. I'm trying to get back on schedule with posting like we were. That little vacation and me not having my phone, it really, really, really messed me up. So I'm slowly but surely getting back in. Y'all will start seeing us more often. Remember today we were doing it at 5:05. I may do it at 7:05 because of the playoffs, and my brother-in-law is actually playing for a national championship today. So I'm gonna try to catch his game. It starts at 12. I'm gonna try to catch his game. And Jennifer and I are going to come in. We're going to do our Saturday activity dialogue show. I just don't know what time it is today, okay? But thank y'all for being here. I love you. I love you. I love you. Let me see you some love. Send y'all some love. And we will see you guys on the next one. You'll be here with me. Oh, thank you, Karen. I appreciate that. All right, guys. Y'all have a good one. Talk to y'all later.